Today, the theme for the discussion is drive tourism. Trying to talk about people on the road. Because this week, as you guys headed to conference, you were joined, so the statistics say, and the fascinating thing about doing a speech this afternoon is you can somehow or other cover off what everyone's covered over the last 24 hours in some way or another. But anyway, 69.8 million domestic trips in the last 12 months. But this week alone, while you've been away, 1 million overnight trips are going to be undertaken. 750,000 of those will be by people taking a holiday. 5 million guest nights. This week alone, 3 million in commercial accommodation. There's no doubt the volume is there. The volume is there for us to survive as an industry. The bit that's amazing to me is that domestic tourism is vital. We understand that. But of this astronomical volume, and as Barry said in the introduction, 70% of it will be generated by people in their own motor vehicle, in their own state. That's what domestic drive tourism is about. 70% of all of these numbers are people driving their own car. As much as we want to think about flying to Sydney or flying to Brisbane or taking the family to the Gold Coast, I guess unless you're in Brisbane, those are dreams. Tourism volume is done in your own car. The most relevant audience for you guys is him. The residents of your state, the residents of your country, the person who drives their own car, and dare I say it, probably belong to an auto club. The primary goal we must have in getting visitors to our life is to get them to visit, then come back again. And the only way to do that is to engage them with knowledge. When the definition of a Melbourne holiday doesn't include going to the Yarra Valley and drinking wine, doesn't include going down the Mornington Peninsula and playing golf, doesn't include potentially the Great Ocean Road, then the question has to be asked, what do our visitors actually know? And more people stay resident in Melbourne than ever leave and do something else. And the thing is, because we feel safe as marketers when we define our products by the banners we put up. The Opera House and the Reef and the Bridge and the Rock. They're our gloss, they're our style, everybody knows them. But our profit can actually be enhanced by doing something else. We need to break the stereotype. We've got to surprise people. Make them do a double take. Not unlike what we heard this morning when we heard, is it Maribela? Some inland desert town where she had massive prawns. A bit of a contradiction for us all. We have to put a vision in front of people that's unexpected, almost in conflict with their ideal. Let's just say New Zealand has magnificent beaches. It conflicts with something you probably never thought we had over there. Let's talk Queensland for a minute. There is certainty in my mind that very few Australians, and certainly Melbournians, have little awareness and no knowledge of Stanthorpe or Lady Adelaide Island or the Carnarvon Gorge. They're not really up for consideration when all we market is the reef and the beach. In the vision of a Queensland holiday, there is a huge gap between local tourism businesses and consumers. And for you guys, with your businesses largely in regional areas, you're a long way from a lot of these icons. But if you were to play your own personal slideshows, go through the memories of your life, do these things that we market so consistently, are they the things that you stand up and say are the greatest places in Australia? I imagine they're not. And if I was to paint a picture of an economically sustainable tourism industry, one that we all can make money from for years into the future, it's a picture, it's an illustration that highlights the need for a broadening knowledge of Australia by all Aussies and visitors. We're going to have a vision of a country whose tourism secrets are revealed for the special places they are. And we've got to get Aussies to be keen to explore and discover, because there is nothing like Australia. And I ask you guys, there's a few Queenslanders here, no doubt, why do Aussies end up in Surfers Paradise in Noosa and not on Fraser Island or in Harvey Bay? Because the major tourism infrastructure is here, because the money's here and the marketing is spent promoting here. So certainly people are going to come to these locations, and for you guys, we've got to figure out how we have to change that. I think it's time we've got to begin marketing places that actually people don't know. Consumers know the stereotypes. We've got to give them that little bit of extra knowledge. Some unexpected locations, some secrets. Let's influence those for whom, say, Queensland's no longer on the holiday agenda. They've been here and now they're looking at places overseas, looking at other places in Australia. We've got to give them a reason to come back. And I think generally they need a dose of inspiration. Because if we unveil our secrets, tell different stories and share a real Australia, we can actually reshape our destinations. Because we actually need people to go down the side roads. We need them to present an Australia that's more interesting than our just current spectacular postcards. And for us as an industry, currently commoditised by the internet particularly, online travel agents who are gripped by lowering our prices, gripped by lowering our yield, we need to realise in some ways we're the possum in the headlights. No one's marketing the reason to go, we're marketing price. We need to understand our market threats and take action. Understanding drive tourism is vital. The fear of Aussies travelling overseas is real, but I believe overhyped. 5 million trips overseas versus 69.8 million domestic trips. By far the biggest threat to domestic tourism is fuel prices. But I think the real competitive threat to your business, guys, looks more like this. The iPad. Not literally the iPad, but what it represents. Australians have developed, as of Kiwis and probably everyone else in the world, an insatiable demand for the flash, for phones, for big TVs, consumer electronics. There is no doubt that electronics and TVs, phones, as well as home furnishings are probably the biggest barrier we have. Because shopping is actually, for us, a component of the most destructive cycle that the tourism industry faces. Potentially a spiral that could go out of control for us. We as people are spending more on less. We're working hard, all of us, and we're justifying our busy life with a diet of tasty morsels. Sometimes of the sugary kind, but more often with a little bit of minor retail therapy. We actually have to get people out of their lounge chair, into their car, and that's something we collectively have to own as an industry. So therefore, you guys have to understand where your business fits into the marketing hierarchy. It's your state, your region, your town, then your business or your brand. And a consumer will never find you if one of those things above you is missing. Let's talk Queensland for a second. If you're not thinking of going to and you're a holiday park in Airlie Beach, if you're not thinking of a Queensland holiday, you're not going to end up in Airlie Beach. If you decide to go to the Gold Coast or Port Douglas instead of the Whitsundays, you're never going to go to Airlie Beach. Once you're there, if actually you're flying into Hamilton Island, you go to Hamilton Island or Hayman Island, again, you're never going to go to Airlie Beach. Until someone knows Airlie Beach is in the Whitsundays in Queensland and you've got them across the line, then you and your business quality and what you stand for can stand up. And marketing can't just be about our business, we have to advocate on behalf of our region. It's not an industry problem, it's your problem and the industry problem. And in marketing your business, you should be marketing a little piece of regional heaven. You've got to be working to raise the knowledge of your neighbours to visitors, not just yourself. Somehow in marketing your property, and it's great to see CRVA doing this, we've got to extol the virtues of tourism, of experiences, of time spent with family, of enhancing your kids' lives, of getting them out from in front of the box, of how it doesn't have to be a week, it can be a couple of days or a couple of hours, but the freedom comes and happiness comes from actually hitting the road. The Auto Clubs of Australia know that they have the audience, 7.3 million members. They've got the capacity and the integrity and the consumer relevance in the drive tourism space. And it's kind of pleasing to stand in front of you guys to say that they are finally united. 6 clubs, 6 big businesses who traditionally have all fought and competed with each other terribly. Nothing stuns me like seeing NRMA on the front of the Brisbane Broncos shirt. But they have a common commitment. They've made a common commitment under one brand to drive Australia. They're going to rebrand the tourism portion of their magazines, the tourism portion of their websites. They've committed to tourism newsletters to their membership, to engaging their members directly for content, for reviews and commentary. They've committed to marketing directly to Australians to get them off their bum, to get them out of their mall. It's the first time that I know of, and probably the first time in history, these clubs have actually worked together with a common message. The good news for us too is they've fully committed to our business and said, we don't want to take any money out of this. Any transactions done through AAA Tourism on their sites will be commission free for our customers. And for you guys, it means that not all eggs are in one basket. You know, the internet, when you read today's stats, there's only 38% of people are using the internet to book holidays. That number stunned me, by the way. I thought it'd be much higher than that for those who read the piece this morning. You know, we're going to at least be able to sit in front of you and say, we encourage you guys to deal, customers to deal directly with you. Over the phone, at your reception, through your website, or book via the clubs. We have no vested interest. We just want people to get on the road. And nobody can get them on the road probably more than them. And I think the clubs are pointed. Sure, I've got a bit of self-interest involved, but they're a relevant partner. And I want to move on to partnerships, because partnerships is what is vital for Drive Tourism. For them, for you, largely their audience is your audience. It'd be pretty rare for someone Australian to come through your life that isn't a club member. But you guys need to find partners who can help you. Clearly you've got colleagues around the table who share the same brand. Great place to start. And clearly there are some national companies, and we can think of national retailers and the like, who promote camping and caravan who are good for you. But how about promoting your business? Who can you work with to enhance your trading position? You run your business. You have to make profit for you. Is there someone in your primary market who you can go in and talk to who would be happy to talk about promoting you? Who through their store or their marketing or their brand are prepared to promote the joys of hitting the road for a great holiday in a great location. And I think you'd be amazed about how many people would be willing to run a promotion, to talk directly to their customers, because holidays and experiences enhance nearly every brand. And when you think of a promotion, when you think about talking directly to someone else's consumers, think about the biggest barrier to travel: the price of petrol. I believe you'd do far better to subsidise a tank of petrol than to discount your rates or pay a commission. It is a huge barrier. The Minister said it yesterday. He said, so I agreed, but no, the age of cheap energy is over. And yet 70% of all your visitors are likely to come from your state in their car. In fact, 70%, probably more than that for you. Domestic tourism. Can you in your marketing deal with that challenge? Short notice travel is vital. We know that that's what tops you up. I'm going away this weekend, I'm going away next week. And often cost is the barrier. You guys need to understand the challenge of fuel prices, of our busy lives, the lure of shopping, and get past those. It's critical to your success. Your marketing actually has to go to somebody who you think can be accessed and reached despite these challenges. Who can I talk to who will come irregardless? And I think that there is one of the key things that have to be chased in the drive tourism market. Identifying who it is who will travel. They're old, they're on weekdays, their families are sporting events. It can't be in the holiday park sector, as you know, only about school holidays and Christmas holidays. We've got to spread that load and get Australians travelling at a broader level. Star ratings is something, obviously, that's been invested a lot in recent years by the auto clubs. I also know that consumers believe they have integrity, value, and they look for it when making a decision. This speech isn't about stars, I'll move on quickly. But collectively there's a team here, George down the back and Chris over here, happy to talk to you about it. Some of you guys have been through the process of the new scheme. I don't know if anyone's going to put their hand up. We've found in doing so that the majority have retained their old star rating. There have been a few upgrades, which is nice. There have also been people who have been told that until January 2014, if you don't make some changes, then potentially you'll lose half a star. But we're doing what we can over the next 2 years to stop that happening. As one park said to me, if my park was five stars 7 years ago and I've done nothing to it, why are you telling me I'm going to be 4.5 stars now? And I said, exactly. 7 years ago, his TVs were boxes, he didn't have Wi-Fi, he hadn't introduced any program to replace soft furnishings. And it's not me saying it, consumers believe that 5-star represents the peak. Consumers' expectations change, and we have to figure out a way to deal with that change at all times. The easy solution for you guys, of course, is to self-rate. But here I am, and here we are as an industry talking about an industry that needs to inspire people, to win back customers from the malls, compete with local businesses. The first step we should actually take should be to focus on quality of our offering, commitment to cleanliness, not to deal with expectations by self-rating. Drive tourism is critical to the success of the Australian holiday park sector. We actually have to understand how to attract Australians. It's vital for us. We've got to find logical and relevant partners to work with, who will give us their customers and let us talk to them. Remember, it's about your state, your region, your town, then your property. That's the marketing hierarchy. If one of those things is not exciting, or interesting, or relevant, then that Australian will never visit you. To close, I want to change a well-thrashed phrase. If a road goes to paradise, but nobody knows it's there, does paradise exist at all? And that's our challenge in this industry. People don't know that there are great places outside the great places they know. Thanks for your time.